Morning everybody, hope you are well. It's Friday, happy Friday. I woke up this morning thinking it was Monday, so that's nice. I've got the weekend to look forward to. What have you been doing this week? I went pumpkin picking yesterday, so we did buy one from the supermarket, but there's nothing quite like going into a big field where there's so many to choose from. And I couldn't choose. My little one could. He picked up. We came back with loads. I've got a really large orange one, a little white one, some really unusual coloured ones. So yeah, that's what we did. Like, I've not got enough to be doing in the evening than hollowing out and carving giant pumpkins, but I'm looking forward to doing that eventually at some point. So what have you been up to this week? Have you had a nice one? We've got Edward in this morning. So good morning, Edward. He says, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all okay. Good morning to Charlotte. So what have you been up to? Have you done anything nice? It is really bright today. It's a bit cold, so I've put my my jumper on today. I'm happy it's autumn, but it's the nights are drawing in, the mornings are getting darker. We didn't want to wake up this morning. I can guarantee tomorrow, when the alarm doesn't go off, my little one will be up at the crack of dawn. But this morning we were all snuggled in bed and not wanting to get up. So yeah, cozy, dark mornings ahead of us, I think. Morning to Charlotte. She says, good morning, Natalie and our beading family. Good morning to Camille. She says it's a bit dull and cold where she is. Good morning to Lucy. She says, good morning, everybody. Good morning to Pauline, who's in the USA. Good morning to you, my lovely. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, whatever time it is where you are. Good morning to Charlotte. It's not raining, says Charlotte. We usually do a little weather update where you are of a morning when we do our tutorials. And for a while, it's been raining where Charlotte is, which is Hawaii, isn't it, Charlotte? So looks like you've got the sunshine today, which is lovely. Good morning to Elaine. Good morning to Carol. She says, I've been making spiders and Halloween baubles to go on my Halloween tree. A Halloween tree? Oh, I haven't got one of them. That'd be lovely. I'd imagine, well, if I did one, I'd probably keep it really bare, just the odd like branch and hang things from them. I've done one at Easter time. It wasn't a full-on tree again. It was just some like branches and twigs, and we hung little eggs and things off there. Pauline says it is just gone 5 a.m. in the USA. Pauline, thank you so much for joining us. I was absolutely fast asleep at 5 o'clock here this morning. Still don't feel like I fully woke up. Been awake for hours. I've had a coffee. But yeah, still feel a little bit foggy today. I don't know why that is. Good morning, creative beading ears, says Sharon. Morning all, dull, overcast and chilly here in Staines, says Sue. Oh, and Carol says, yeah, hers is also a branch. Looks more spooky, doesn't it? I'm going to have to get my decorations out of the loft. I've noticed a few people putting them up a little bit earlier this year, and I think it's just nice to get the enjoyment out of them, isn't it, really? If you're going to do it, then you might as well enjoy it. I appreciate not everybody wants trick-or-treaters for various reasons, and that's absolutely fine. But I always think if you are going to go trick-or-treating, only go to the houses that maybe have like a pumpkin or the lights on and a few decorations, and then you know they're accepting visitors. Oh, Lucy's put, Camille, your poppy looks lovely. I'm taking it this was either poppies made in BeadClub or on Wednesday with Sarah. Wasn't it lovely to have her back? Really enjoyed watching it. Again, she makes it look super easy. I don't think it was really an overcomplicated make. Today is going to be a super easy make for you. As Wednesdays went on a little bit longer, this one's going to be a little bit shorter live today because it is really quick. We are doing the groove tube bracelets. So I say it's really quick. After you've trimmed them, all you really need to do is stick them into the clasps, and you can play about with either the ball chain you might want to use. You could pull the little rubber inner tubes in, which I'll be showing you, and you can also add beads into it as well to fancy it up a little bit more. But they're great today because they really are so versatile. I think they're suitable for all ages and all genders. I think, you know, they're really good, nice, simple make to do today. Oh, wow. Good morning, Kelly from Australia. Oh, we've got people all over the place today. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you all so much for joining us. If it is too early or too late to watch with me live, that's fine. You can always watch it on the catch up. We are on YouTube. We're on the Totally Facebook page, and we're also shared in the handmade group as well. So you can always catch these videos up at any point you want to. So you're all having a lovely little chat. I'm going to take you straight over to the website and I'm going to show you the bargain today, because it really is a bargain. So if you go on to totallybeads.co.uk, as usual, you will see all our beautiful makes, and there's various ways to get into the video tutorials. You can click here, you can click in the logo here, which is at the top, or you can also go into categories and click on video tutorials there, so you can't miss us. And you can see all the lovely makes we've been making the last couple of weeks. Well, I say the last couple of weeks in here. This goes back for such a long time. It's I don't know, it's about 2 years probably now, isn't it, since the beginning of lockdown? So you can search tutorials by date, by kind, by technique, by bead, and the ones that we've recently been doing just sit nicely at the top here. So today is the groove tubes. And if you click in, you can see all the different products that you can buy. Now, if you want to, you can buy them separately. So you can buy the groove tube cords in whichever colour you like, and they are just £1. You can also get your magnetic clasps for £1.50, and these fit perfectly onto the groove tubes. So if you're going to get the groove tubes, I really would recommend that you get those clasps because they are perfect, and I'll show you them in a little while. If you're going to get them, or when you're going to get them, I really wouldn't buy them separately. You might want to add on extras, but I would get the bundle today. It should be £25 and it is only £13.99. It's an absolute steal. So this is going to make up 8 bracelets. So if you go into the kit, which as I say is £13.99, you're going to be able to make up 8 different bracelets in a variety of different colours. It's going to have your groove tubes in there. It's going to have a variety of different colours. It's going to have your clasp. It's also going to have some ball chain and also some rubber tubing for you as well. The only thing not included in your kit is the glue. And we don't include the glue because everybody has their own preference of what glue they like to use. I'll be showing you some that I've made with a variety of different glues. And I'm going with Gorilla Glue today because it's cheap and it's strong and it's bonding your rubber and your metal together. So whichever glue you do use, make sure that it's strong enough to bond those different materials together. If you want to, you can add beads. I'm sure, given how long we've been making together, you'll have quite a few different beads in your stash that you can use. Let me just see what's going on in the comments. Oh, we've got an international audience this morning. Good morning, Jane from Denmark. Lovely, lovely to see you. Janice says, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. You've not missed anything at all yet, Janice. We're just having a little chit chat, catching up with each other to see where we're watching from, what we're up to. So you've not missed anything yet. Oh, yes, don't forget. Debbie's asking, morning, everybody. Anybody going to the bead show tomorrow? It's exciting. I'm not getting to go, but if you're down that way in Londonium, then make sure you can check it out if you can. I know Kitti and Simon are going to be there, so you'll have your friendly faces already. I'm sure there'll be lots of bargains, and it'll be just a lovely atmosphere. Things are starting to get a little bit more normal, aren't they? I say that I've just had my concert, which was rescheduled for November from last October, rescheduled again. Well, they've not given me a new date, but that's been cancelled. I'm disappointed. I'm not too disappointed. I don't really know how I feel about being in a massive arena space at the moment. But yeah, so some things are returning to normal, and if you can go to something like the bead show, then that's a really nice kind of setting to go back into. So Mina and Lucy are having a chit chat about things that they're making. Miss Kitti is here. Good morning, Kitti. How are you doing? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to turn you down onto the mat. Now, what I've done on my mat today is I've lined it with a little bit of paper, a little bit of kitchen roll, because I am using glue. It is a very quick make, but we might be here sometime if you're watching me unpeel my fingers and unstick them together, because the glue, as I say, I'm using today, I am using this Gorilla Glue. It is very, very strong. Now, you can use any type of glue that's going to bond those two different materials together. The E6000 or B6000, they're all the same type of glue. I think the only difference is it's a make. So if it's an E or a B, it's the make that's different there. That's really good stuff to use. It's brilliant for jewellery making, but it does take a little while to dry. Now, this will dry completely in 24 hours, but it will bond quite quickly. So I thought I would get something like this for you today, just to show you and speed up the make. There's so many different types you can get. This one is good. I've used this for doing like pebble frames and things. It's nice because it's in a little nozzle and it's easy to use and get into that little groove. Some of them come with brushes, but I think like a nozzle tip applicator like this one has should do the trick. What I am doing is I'm just going to make sure my lid's firmly attached, and I'm just going to place it in a little pot or in my bracelets that are pre-made, just to stand it up, just to let that dribble towards the end, so I'm not squeezing it too much and too tight. So in your groove tube kit, you're getting these lovely groove tubes, and they're really, really lovely to use. They're really what's the word, I like to touch them. They've got a really lovely feel to them. They're very rubbery, and they're lovely. They feel really nice on your wrist. You're getting them in so many different colours, and they're called groove tube because of this groove that runs right through the middle of them, that you can place your beads into, your inner rubber tubes, your ball chain. There's so much you can do with it, and it's really, as I say, very versatile. I think we often struggle trying to tactile. That's the word. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, tactile. It's very tactile. If you're like me, I struggle to make jewelry for the men in my life. I think a lot of the things I tend to make is quite feminine. Obviously, you know, any design you make with any kind of beads, you can change it up. But I always feel mine more air on the feminine side, especially with things like my wire wrap jewelry. These, I think, are perfect. If I can show you some pre-made ones. So as I say, you can add the ball chain into these, and they look really simple and elegant and a little bit sturdy. And you can do so much with these depending on what colours that you add, what innards that you add. Like this one, I think is really masculine and really lovely. But again, very gender neutral. You could add that on anyone's wrist. I think a lot of younger people would like these as well. If you wanted to add a little bit of sparkle into them, the ball chain is perfect for that. Look at all the different colours they come in. And as I say, you can also add beads in there as well. Now, if you are adding beads, I would go for a 2mm size bead. You can maybe go to 3. Anything bigger isn't really going to fit in quite as well. But the ball chains that we've got are going to fit perfectly, as are the rubber innards. I've done pink ones special for you, Lucy. So the ones I've made up are the pink ones. ready to go. And you can make these to any size. The clasp is a magnetic clasp and it just slides together. It fits perfect and they just look really professional. I think if I was to see these, I would think that they weren't handmade because of the materials that you've got there. Or Mina says that she might get it for his son. As I say, they are perfect for anyone. So these are your clasps and they just slot on. And because they've got a little magnet in them, they fit really nice and they feel really sturdy as well. So let's get making. Let me show you all the bits and bobs. So as I say, you've got a variety of different coloured tubes in your pack. They are going to make up to 8 bracelets. I suppose it depends on the length that you're using. You're not going to need to cut much smaller than the length that you want. So for example, if you want to make a 20cm bracelet, the clasp isn't going to add that much length onto it. So you might want to cut to about 19 centimeters because your tube is going into the clasp. That's only going to take a few millimeters up on either side. So you can cut these to length. Now, if you want to add the rubber tubes, which I think look lovely, these are actually 4 millimeters. Let me move this away so you can see. But because it's a hollow tube, it's squishy and it fits in really nice. Now, I haven't, when I've used the rubber tubing, I haven't added any glue onto the inside of this. Usually if I'm using beads or if I'm using the ball chain, I will just run a little bit of glue through the length of what I need to hold it in place, because what we don't want to happen if we're using the ball chain, which I will show you now. Again, your ball chain's coming in so many different colours as well. Let's go for this lovely, like masculine looking one. If I was to just glue this at one end and the other end when my clasp's in, there's a chance as it bends, I mean, it's not doing it here at the moment. There you go. As it moves, it might fall out a little bit. So I would always line the inside of this little groove tube with the glue as well. However, when I'm using the rubber, I'll show you how easy that fits in. You're just going to squish it very gently. Doesn't take much effort at all. Just as I go, I'm bending it a little bit, and you'll see, just putting a little bit of pressure on that with my thumb, it's fitting in really nice, and that's going to be glued in on both ends with the clasp. So I don't tend to use any glue other than the ends when I'm putting the clasp on when I'm using the rubber innards. But if I'm using the beads or I'm using the ball chain, then I tend to. Now, with the beads, what you want to make sure that you're doing is you thread whatever beads you're using onto some sort of stringing material, whether it be tiger tail or thread. Now that's not going to hold your beads in place, but what it is going to do is make sure that they're facing the right way. They're not going to move, so you're not going to get the hole in the bead sticking out. It's going to kind of keep them grouped together. So what I would do is I would place my bead. All you need to do is make sure that your beads fit in the clasp. So if you're using a 2mm bead, it's going to fit in that clasp, no problem. A 3 probably will as well. If you're using any bigger, you might need to leave a little gap, maybe about a few millimeters towards the end of your groove tube, just to make sure that when you insert that, it's not going to break your beads. And I would literally just lay it in and push those beads up on that string as I go. And obviously, as I had a little bit of glue in that first, so I would be able, until that glue was completely dry, just to move up my beads where that little gap is on the string, and just start to position them in place. Now what I would do is in fact, let's do it. You're going to cut your tube first to the size that you want. Lucy says, well, it looks like a project I might be able to do. Hee. I need easy at the moment. I think these would look lovely with miracle beads. They are really easy to do. We are going back sometimes to very simple techniques using really lovely products. And I think sometimes you do just want that break away from something that's not too detailed. These take minutes to make. The glue will take a little bit longer to dry depending on the glue that you're using, but they take minutes to make. So if you're buying a pack for, what price did we say it was? Was it $8.99? $13.99, sorry. You're getting 8 for $13.99. This whole bracelet is going to cost you not a lot of money at all, and you'll be able to sell these. So if you were going to shows or giving them as gifts, they're going to look a lot more than what it's cost you to make 8. So you're going to recoup your money on this. So choose whichever colour that you want to work with, and you're going to cut it to the length. So you can, if you're measuring it for yourself, place it around your own wrist. This looks very tiny, but it fits me because I've got tiny wrists. Let me show you popping that on. I know I was going to get fingers and thumbs at some point today. There you go. So this fits me nicely. So if you wanted to do a 20 centimeters, you might want to cut it to about 19, because as I say, the clasp is going to take up just a few millimeters. It's not going to give you much length at all because they're sticking in place. So cut your bracelet to the length that you want. Now you can cut this with scissors. These are the only tools you're going to need. You can cut them with scissors. I would do little motions just to cut through. It's really lovely to use. If you've got your big cutters, then you can use them too. Obviously, blade side towards what you're cutting, and that will cut straight through it really easy, like so. You can probably use your usual cutters, but because this is a solid rubber tube, you're going to want something maybe a little bit more sturdy, or you're going to need to do lots of little gentle cuts. Please can you show all the colours as we are getting the bundle? Kitti, sorry, if you go on the let me share the page for you again. If you go onto the website, you'll see all the different colours in that. There is a mix of colours. It doesn't specify which colours you're getting. However, if you go onto the main window with all of the different things in, you're getting all those. You're going to get 8 different ones. So you're getting a real variety in there. You'll be able to get your pink, your grey, your blue, your purple, your red, your turquoisey colour, and your black as well. So let me stop sharing that. So there's loads of different colours. The ones I've got in front of me, bear in mind I've used my pinks and my lilacs and things already for my samples. There's all of those. And your inner tubes that you're getting, again, loads of different colours. You're probably going to get more of your inner tubes than you are your groove tubes, and that'll give you a little bit of variety so you can mix and match. I don't know what colour I like best with this. I quite like that pink. Lucy, you rubbed off on me and now I like pinks. Maybe the white would be quite neutral. Oh, the cream. We'll go with the white one. Okay, so you're getting all sorts in there. So you've cut quite easily with your scissors or your small sturdier grippers. the size that you want. And if you are using your tube, I would make sure that you don't cut your, let me just straighten that edge out a little bit. Don't cut whatever you're putting inside first. And what I mean by that is you want to keep the length of your inner tube, which is hollow, or your ball chain, just until you've positioned it in fully. Because what might happen is, as this is turned into the shape of a bracelet, you might use up a millimetre or two extra as that's curved. So what I always like to do is make sure that I've positioned my whatever inner I'm using first, and then I will cut it when I get to the end. Lucy says she's obsessed with pinks and rose golds. Okay. So as you can see, all I'm doing is gently just pushing that in, moving it along with my fingers, or pushing it in gently with my thumb, and that's fitting really nicely into that groove tube there. And when I'm happy I've got enough, using the shape, either with my scissors or with my cutters, I'm just going to trim it off to the same length. And now this is the bit where you get to watch me get stuck with my glue. So I'm going to take my clasp, and I'm going to, it doesn't matter which way round you put this on, because you can just turn it over. So it's going to fit in like here and there. So what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to add a little bit of glue into my clasp. Now always make sure you've got something on your desk or on your mat, like some tissue or newspaper or something, just to stop any excess glue. And I'm only going to put a tiny little bit. It only needs a little bit. You don't want to overfill it. Now this one's clear, this glue I'm using, and it is not the expanding foam one. Make sure you don't get the expanding foam one. I have made that error once in the past, and it looked fine when I first did it, and then afterwards it started to ooze as it dried, because a lot of Gorilla glues are used for kind of industrial stuff and outside projects, and often you want that glue to expand into whatever crevice or hole you put it into. You don't want this on your jewellery. Now I've used quite a lot in there, to be honest. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a clean there. So I'm just using a cotton bud. I'm wondering if this is going to ooze out all over the place now. I've put too much in. But I am using a clear one. So all I'm going to do is just very gently squeeze the little rim of that inner tube as I pop it in, and gently push it. Actually, I've not used too much. I'm just going to clean that up before it dries, so it doesn't look too messy. There's no excess coming out there, so that's good. There's a tiny little bit here. If you've got any nail varnish remover with acetone in it, that will also be good if you want to dip your cotton bud in it, and just tidy that up a little bit. And exactly the same on the other side. I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to pop a little drop in. And then I'm going to just place the other end into that clasp. You might want to, as I say, just push that little ridge down a little bit on your tube. Oh, look, that's all come gushing out. So take your cotton bud and give it a little wipe to neaten that up and give it a nice little finish. Diane says, thanks for saying about expanding Gorilla Glue. I didn't realise there were two kinds. There's absolutely loads of different kinds of glue that you can use that will work for this project. We are not advertising any particular one. This is just the one that I'm using. But yeah, the expanding one is the one that you want to avoid. This one's clear, so when it dries, and to be honest, I'm not sticking my fingers together, whereas when I've used the super glue one, which bonds in 10 seconds, there's been numerous times I've been really stuck to myself. Could you use paracord in the groove tube, or would it be too big? I'm not too sure, Victoria. You can probably use pretty much anything within this groove. As I say, these tubes are 4mm, but because they're hollow, they're squishy, and you can squish that into place. The beads I would use would be a 2 or 3mm at most. So try it and see. I mean, you can work over it as well. You don't have to just be using the groove in the middle. You could bead round them. That might look really lovely, actually. If your beads or whatever you're putting inside is a little bit bigger than it's going to need to be to fit into the clasp, all you need to do is just finish it just slightly before the clasp, and then this is still going to fit perfectly. Your groove tube's still going to fit perfectly into the clasp. But as soon as that's dry, that's how quick and easy it is to make. Okay, let's show you with the ball chain. I'll put that to the side somewhere for now while that's drying. Okay, so with the ball chain, what colour to use now? Ooh, can't decide. I'm going to go for... I'm quite liking the fact that I'm using more neutral colours, to be honest. You know, I want to use that blue, though. Do you know what? Let's do the red. Okay, so again, take your groove tube. I hope I'm answering everybody's questions okay. Do put a Q in front if you've got a question. If you've got a tip, use a T. Oh, Kitti says you can use anything 3 to 4mm in the groove. I think paracord might be a little bit too big. There you go. So the expert knows what she's doing. Try it and see. So yes, so I'm going to use the red one. I'm going to cut it. I want this one for me. So I'm going to cut it to my little tiny size. I'm just going to pop it around my wrist. Again, you can use your scissors, but if you've got bigger, larger cutters, then you're only going to need to do it in one nice movement. And one large snip will get it perfect for you. Okay, so this time I'm going to want to place it in, and I'm going to try not to get myself covered in glue, but you only need a tiny little bit. So I'm just going to run it. Now, if I had a little nozzle, that might work better. I think this is going to seep a little bit over the edges. There you go. I'm just going to run that glue through the middle. Now, last time these gorgeous products were shown, I think Kitti did them with Christopher a little while back, and Christopher had the fantastic idea of doing Morse code and secret messages in the bracelet, in the groove. which I just think is brilliant. So, and what I'm going to do is I'll show you maybe a little bit of how that might work. They are really versatile. So all I'm doing now is just running my cotton bud just across the edge there where I've made a little bit of spillage. And I'm going to place my ball chain up to the edge and just drop that in. And this is how easy it is to do. It's going to fit perfectly. And as I say, because we want to shape it into a bracelet, just making sure that when it is in that shape, I've got enough there and it's gone right up to my edge. And then I'm going to cut my ball chain. I'll do it with my scissors. I'll use my cutters. I have got a bit of glue on my finger now. I'm just going to slide that back up a little bit. Until this glue is completely dry, you can still move these about. I'm going to pick up my clasp again. I'm going to get my glue and add a tiny little drop into the end. I do think less is more. I mean, if you didn't put enough in or you didn't use a strong enough glue, you could always add it again afterwards, you know, if it hasn't stuck. And then it just goes in really easy. These clasps are perfect. I don't know if they were made for each other, but they work like they are. Tiny little bit. As you can see, it's got like a little hollow space in between. Curve that round and pop that in. Just going to clean up any little drops and leave that to dry. I have got a little bit of glue on my fingers, so I'm just going to do that there. This is why it's always important to prep your space beforehand. A little bit of tissue or something you've got just to keep things clean. Okay, for the beads. So I'm going to show you very quickly how I would do the beads. So I'm going to cut to the size that I want and I'm going to pick out my beads. So I've got some pearls here and I'm going to keep these on the string. As I say, it's important to keep them on the string because they're not going to roll around all over the place and I can position them easier next to each other. Oh, Angela says she's made some bracelets with Morse code, brilliant for secret messages. Can I show you? There's loads of websites. If you don't know Morse code off by heart, I don't think many people do know off by heart, that you can type things in. So I went on a Morse code translator. Let me see if I can share this page with you. And you can type in your message. So if I wrote totally beads, it would come out as little dots and little dashes. This, I would just use a space in between because that's just breaking up the words. So whatever it is that you wanted to write, it will show you how that looks, which I think is a really lovely idea. So you could use a variety of beads. I think little seed beads would look lovely. I would probably use something this shape for my dashes. Can you see them? and just a little round bead for my dots. Julie says, I'm hopeless with glue. I get myself stuck whatever I'm gluing to me. I used to make an awful lot of like pebble box frames. I used to do them as like wedding gifts for friends and things. So I think I've used pretty much every type of glue that there is, because I always think, well, it needs to be strong enough to bond the stone or the metal or whatever materials I'm using. And the issue I had once with the expanding foam was when I done a pebble frame, and yeah, it looked beautiful, and then I was like, I'm gonna have to redo that. I can't gift this. It's so yeah, so I'd run a little bit of glue through it. As I said, I would put my beads or whatever I'm using right up to the end on, I'd knot one side, and I would just start to place them in like so. I don't know whether these are a little bit too big. They shouldn't be. There you go. So all I'm doing is just putting a little bit of pressure with my thumb to get those in. And I think, you know, as we were saying, they can look quite masculine or gender neutral. You can add little crystals or pearls or anything you want just to add that sparkle. You'd think I'd be stuck to this now with the glue on my finger, but I'm actually slippy. I don't know why this isn't working. It was working when I tried it this morning. Why won't you go in? Let me try this side. I don't know what difference it makes, but let's just start again. Have I got any smaller? Because I've not put the glue in. Right, okay, take two. Let's see if I've got, see if the little crystals will work instead. Oh, they're going to go everywhere, aren't they? I was prepped and ready and prepared. Lucy says she's dangerous with a glue gun. Yeah, I love a glue gun, but I've never in the history of my life been able to use it without burning myself. Okay, so again, you're going to put whatever you're using onto the stringing material, and you're going to push them into place. They're firing all over the place. Why is it not working? It was working before. Right, I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to be determined to get these in. Maybe I need the glue on them. So I would be pushing them into place. They will fit. I don't know why they're not right now. And all I would do is I would just be pushing up with my finger just any little gaps on that string. I don't know why this isn't working. I do apologise. Sharon says, you could put your code on a string first. Yeah, you will need to bead or string on rather anything that you're using first onto. You can use tiger tail, you could use thread, whatever you wanted. I don't know why this isn't working. It was working fine before. I'm not getting into a tiz. I'm not getting into a flap. I don't know why it's not working. What am I doing? Perhaps it's the blue bracelet that's the problem. Well, yeah, okay. Thank you for bearing with me. See, you can tell we're all human, aren't we? These beads, I would not like to put these colours together, but I want to show you what I mean. Maybe it's my hands. Anyway, you would stick them in. You would push them in. You would just slide up the beads as you go until you get them in place. Once you get to the end and they're looking lovely, you would cut your string and then tie a little knot at the end, and you want to make sure that you're tying your knot up close to that last one. So I'm going to show you a tip for doing that. You would take off any of the beads that you weren't needing when you'd finished and got your desired length. So let's pretend that they're sticking there and that's exactly where we need them. Okay. And then to tie your knot in it towards the end, you can get a little pin. So lie it flat. Got a double thread here, so be a little bit more tricky to show you because these are just on the thread that they've come on. And then I literally pop my pin or my needle into that knot right up against that bead. So when I give it a pull, in fact, I'm going to show you on here so you can hopefully see a little bit better. I'm popping my pin right into that little knot. So as I pull it, it's going to go up tight and up close to that bead. And then my bead should be sitting in my groove tube with a little bit of glue. And all I need to do then is attach the clasps as I've just shown you. And that is that. That's how easy it is. Oh yes, Sue says it would be a way to centralize the message. Yeah. So as I say, whatever beads that you're choosing to use, just thread them onto something first. If you were doing a Morse code, I mean, each letter has a series of like numbers. So it's a lot of dots and dashes and things like that. So you're going to want to make sure that you plan it out first. You want to make sure you've got the spacing right, and that obviously your code fits into your bracelet. But there's loads of different things. You could do people's names, who they were intended for. You could write little secret messages to each other. Mine would probably be something to do with beading. There's so many different things that you can use. Camille said, try a different tube. I've given up, Camille. I've just given up. It works. I promise you it works because I've done one. I just don't have one to show you here. But if I can take you back down, you don't get the beads in your kit anyway. You get the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ball chain, which I think is really versatile. And I love the colours with that. And that kind of pretties it up a little bit too. And I love using that rubber tube with it. I just think it's great. Obviously, you're getting lots of different designs. Could even wear them stacked, which I think would be lovely. And I think there'd be so many people who would like to wear these. Young people, all genders. They're really, really versatile. Now, I've spent a little while chatting and talking you through that. I have obviously been having issues with some beads. These take minutes to make. I reckon you can make these in less than 5 minutes. Sue said maybe the groove in the blue is smaller. It shouldn't be. They should all be completely uniform. It is not the products that's at fault. It's me. What is the quote? A bad workman or woman always blames their tools. I'm not blaming the products here. There's nothing wrong with these products. It's definitely my fault today, so I apologise for that. Kitti says you could use seed beads and bugle beads. They'd be perfect to do the Morse code with, wouldn't the Kitti? And she's put, you need a 3mm pearl for it. They look like 4mm, Natalie. I think that's probably what's happened, hasn't it? Oh, when I've tried it, I've thought, oh, that's worked. And I'm wondering if I picked up a different string. Probably. Yeah. So what you're going to need is, if you're using these hollow tubes, they're 4mm and they will fit in perfect because you're squishing it a little bit. Any beads that you're using, you really want the 2mm, 3 at the most, not 4, which I was obviously using then. Tip from Sharon: put a different colour bead in for the space in your message. That's a good idea, Sharon. So if you were, say, using the black one, you could use a black bead as your space. That's a really good idea. I like that. Yeah, everyone agrees my pearls are too big. Thread the seed beads on the thread and then add it to the middle. Yes, Angela, that is what you're doing. So really lovely products today. I think it's really nice to just make something which is simple and yet really effective. As I say, if I'd seen these in a shop, I would not think they were handmade, homemade, because you're getting such professional, good quality products with them. And I think they're really lovely. I think this one's really summery. I could see wearing these at like festivals and things like that. Depending on the colours that you use, I think, you know, these are good all year rounders. Like this is the one that I've made before, and that's pretty much dry already. And I don't think it needs much more clearing up. Looking at it, I think I've done all right with the glue there. So they're really versatile. They're really simple to use. And I haven't stuck myself together. So success. So I hope you have all enjoyed it. I hope it's something that you think is a little bit different. You might want to give it a go. On Monday, because today isn't Monday like I thought it was when I first woke up. On Monday, we will be doing, again, a really nice, simple project. Do I show you? I don't want to spoil it. Okay, so we're going to be using some something sparkly, something a little bit similar in terms of ease that we were making today. You will need your glue again. So what's really good is if you decide to give this project a go, the glue that you've bought for today will be fabulous for Mondays as well. And if you don't want to do any glue, you don't need to, because we'll be making lovely little earrings. In fact, I should have put them on today because they're going to match my jumper. So yeah, nice, easy, don't tease, says Camille. Well, I've showed you a little bit. So yeah, Monday is going to be, oh no, you can't lose the days of the week, says Kitti. Kitti, honestly, I woke up this morning and I was thinking it was Monday. I knew I had a live, so it wouldn't have been a problem. I'd have still been here with you today. And I was chatting to Francis and I was saying about what we're doing this week. And then I thought, ooh, we might get a lie-in tomorrow. It's the weekend. Yeah, I'm the one keeping you straight. Well, it doesn't look like, does it? We're both as bad as each other. So yeah, Monday, a lovely, simple make, which I think they're really pretty. I'm really pleased with how these have come out. They'll again take you minutes to make. You'll be able to make loads in lots of gorgeous colours. I think they've got a bit of festive sparkle to these. I'll stop teasing you. So please come back and join me on Monday. I might still be here. I might be just stuck to the desk now. I might not be able to move all weekend. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Get outside in the great outdoors if you get the opportunity to do so. If I start to carve my gigantic pumpkins and collection of pumpkins early, I will share some pictures as well in the group of what I've been doing with them. As I say, you'd think I had plenty of time and I wasn't making a million one things. I bought 4. There's only 3 of us. I don't know why we've got 4. Each year I try and go a bit more extravagant with my design, and I've done some really lovely ones. this, I think, is just going to be some little faces carved into them, something straightforward. Charlotte, she says, thank you for a great tutorial, Natalie. Good night, everyone, and have a great day all. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've been, thank you, sweetheart. If you've been watching, where were we watching from today? USA, Australia, Denmark. It's been amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who takes the time to come and join us, because it's the best job in the world. And if you're not watching, you won't have me. So please keep watching and please let me come back. All right, my loves. Have a lovely weekend and I will see you on Monday. Love and light to you all. Take care. Bye.